Worker unions in the financial services sector are rare, and gathering enough support amongst employees may be a long shot. Now that's facts. When I used to work help desk, I was only getting like 20 an hour, but we did more work than all the other departments at the building, and we stayed busy on calls. So we had to have a clearance to do the role. And I was like, look, if we just tell them, hey, for 20 minutes we not answering calls until we get a raise, we can win because they can't just bring everybody in here to do the job. Ain't nobody want to rock with me. Like, hey, this is good enough for me. I was like, all right, that's why some of y'all still there. JPMorgan Chase latest company-wide survey of employee opinion showed that work-life balance was a key frustration for workers, an issue that has taken on new relevance at the bank in recent days. On Friday, the company told employees that it would implement a new 5-day in office mandate in March, shifting from a 3-day policy. In the days since, frustration has mounted for some employees who say the new mandate will pose challenges. Of course, it will pose challenges. Now, I know at the Plano location, like for the people who got kids, like they did have a daycare, but I don't think you could bring them there every day. I think you could get like a week or two where you could take them to like the daycare and whatnot. But even just in DFW, all them people don't stay near Plano. They probably already had their times mapped out when they would come into work, but now in 5 days a week, and that's just here. I mean, I think that's a national mandate. So just imagine everybody else commute when they got people in Ohio. I think they got New York. They probably got some other locations where they have like some hubs that. Let me put this on D&D. But some employees have held private conversations about the possibility of forming a union. Barron's has learned, some said in the interview, that they were reading up on a small union organized at Wells Fargo, where the negotiation process for a contract between executives and union employees is underway. Now, how do y'all feel about unions? I've never been a part of a union. And although I think it could be beneficial, I can see also where a union could hinder people.
I have no experience with it, so I don't know.
Same.
Me either.
Like I know most of the auto industry, it works for them, blue collar, they stick together and they get their raises. But one of the allures of working in the tech industry is sometimes based on whatever skill set you have, you can write your own ticket. But the time you start talking about unions, they can start capping what you make and all these other things. So it's always a catch-22. Like, I mean, you might say at least you can't just be fired just because they want to fire you. But then, hey, with the way that they've been raising prices out here, you won't have a high enough salary to go stay nowhere.
Yeah, I remember for Delta, they were having some issues with the union where the pilots were asking for more money, and it isn't called a strike, but it's called like something along that lines, where they're just like making their demands. So I got to see like the exact verbiage for it, because when I talked to the Delta employees about strike, they say no, that's not exactly it.
The people that I know who were a part of unions were very like gung ho, like they got my back. Like I feel good about. I don't understand the context, but they felt supported in being in a union.
Yeah, so that's what I can see the benefits of that. But let's keep on reading. Some staffers have internally passed around a Google form created by an employee, which poses a series of questions about whether colleagues will support an effort to organize a union and how they view the office policy. Worker unions in the financial services sector are rare, and gathering enough support amongst employees may be a long shot. Now that's facts. When I used to work help desk, I was only getting like 20 an hour, but we did more work than all the other departments at the building, and we stayed busy on calls. So we had to have a clearance to do the role. And I was like, look, if we just tell them, hey, for 20 minutes we not answering calls until we get a raise, we can win because they can't just bring everybody in here to do the job. Ain't nobody want to rock with me. Like, hey, this is good enough for me. I was like, all right, that's why some of y'all still there. Hospitals and ports have strong unions. Yeah, but I wonder if the tech workers are like that. Yeah, I worked at JPMorgan Chase, also a trading floor support. I hated that. A spokesperson for JPMorgan declined to comment for this article. Employees began expressing open frustration on Friday. The company shut down some employees' ability to comment on an internal firm-wide forum when an announcement about the new policy was posted. Employees have written more than 300 comments where their full names are attached in response to the memo. Many negative. One employer later described the pushback as a brewing civil war. I've always taken pride in how our firm leads the way and it benefits and culture, yet I struggle to see how this move will strengthen our organization or positively impact our people. One employee said in a public post on LinkedIn, while I have little confidence that me raising concerns will reverse the decision, as a senior leader with a decade of service to the firm, I feel responsible to voice my perspective and stand with others who share these views. Let's see what Jamie Dion say. We recognize that switching from hybrid to 5 days a week in the office may be disruptive and require adjustments for some colleagues, the memo from JPMorgan said. Once your location is ready, if you need a bit more time to accommodate the new schedule, you should discuss your needs with your manager and get their approval. The memo was sent by the operating committee, which includes JPMorgan CEO Jamie Dimon and other top executives. The pushback is a rare instance of vocal employee criticism of the bank. Diamond has served as JPMorgan CEO for nearly 20 years, amongst the longest tenured bank chiefs, and has become the most high-profile and vocal executive on Wall Street. He is seen among many employees and even among competitors as the voice of the banking industry. Other large companies such as Amazon, Goldman Sachs, and AT&T have implemented similar return-to-office policies. It's a return to pre-COVID norms, even as many companies thrive financially during the pandemic through a combination of remote and hybrid work. Let's see, because this is a long article. I ain't trying to bore y'all. Yeah, stop sharing it. So normally, too, what I believe companies do when they're trying to force people to come into the office, they really want to force some people to quit.
Yeah.
They know everybody not gonna come in, because that's what happened with Amazon. Like, they pretty much had people come in and they was like, nah, we ain't coming in 5 days a week.
It's
Now,
definitely soft layoff.
Now go ahead.
I was saying it's called soft layoff.
Yep. Now, when I was at JP, they didn't say how long you had to stay in the office. So I would come in the morning and then leave about 12 and 1 because traffic used to be real bad on 380. I would say on my lunch, I would pretty much just go back home. Now,
yeah, they probably gonna be checking back swipes. That's
That's
usually that's usually what happens when they have to go back to office. They'll be like, you need to return by this date, and they'll see the population hasn't increased, and then they'll start saying, okay, we're going to be checking badge swipes.
Yeah.
Now, I believe now Chase actually monitors the user's activity while they're at work, from what I recall from research.
Yeah, they're strict. They're real strict over there.
Yeah, it's about control. They did the same thing with Amazon and Google. So they were just trying to see, like, are they swiping their badge, getting coffee, and then leaving to go back home? Because they really want them to come into the office so that way they can get on the phone with everybody in another office across, in another state or another country. So you're just kind of going into the office to do something that you can do from home.
The funny thing is, like, you really rarely get anything done at the office.
That's why I don't get it. You spend so much time, if there's a good culture, you spend so much time talking.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But one thing I will say,
you go see somebody you haven't seen in 2 weeks, a month, or however long it's been. Now y'all at lunch for 2 hours. Like, then you got to go home and still work, finish the work you were supposed to do that day.
Yeah, in-office jobs to me is not good for people with ADHD. Like me, I can't do it. I'm not productive at all in the office.
I feel the same way. If I have important stuff to do, I'm going to be at home.
Yep.
I was talking to one of my old managers. It's like probably a year or two ago. He told me that, I hired you on to do your work, and that's just the bare minimum. But it's like something else that you need to do to be able to stand out. So, like, you can do your work and then go home and then, nothing happens. But then when you go up and you interact with, like, the senior level leadership, you interact with other teams, cross-functional teams, and then you show and try to gain influence. Like, I like to do public speaking, so I go up on the stage and stuff like that. And that's how I've been able to stand out more in my own job. I'm going into the office right now. I'm hybrid, but I enjoy it because, like, the people who I interact with on a daily basis, even though none of them are on my team, but I interact with like the senior level leadership and just kind of talk to them, and then they give me free food and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. I come into the office for like a few hours, then go home. Or if you guys are having a party with drinks later on after work, sounds good to me.
Got a point.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I know, like, I think I made a tweet about this, but I was saying for the people who early on in their career, if they do want to promote and go up like that, because matter of fact, remember when we talked about Dale in the return to office, and it was like, hey, you're only going to get promoted if you come into the office. So I'm like, hey, if you're early in your career, no kids and stuff, by all means, go in. Because that's the thing. Everybody don't want to move up the ladder. They just want to make it and go home. And I ain't mad at it because it's too much shit in the job and you got to do to do all that. I know. Like if going into office was like how it was when I worked for Optiv, it was fun. I mean, you come in, do your work, or just walk around, go chill, get a little sun. But it wasn't much like it wasn't a lot of meetings. Like I don't care for meetings, and if it is meetings, you next.
Hey.
Yeah, I got what's going on.
Amber Alert.
Yeah, somebody missing.
And it's
I just got it too.
So something else to add on to it too. So I don't know if you ever saw, it was a tweet a few days ago, and they were talking about the H-1B debate, and it had something to do with you go into the office, you get on the call with people from another country, and then they are in their own office having private meetings, talking in their own language without you being in attendance, and they're getting more opportunities and they can climb the ladder. So I thought about that and I was like, okay, so you going into the office, and then if your whole team isn't there, you kind of like, how are you able to climb the ladder as well, other than by mixing and mingling with like senior level leadership? Because I mean, like, you can get work, you can get tasks, but they may not give you like the extremely impactful or the highly important things. They may give you like the, you need to do like pull requests, or you need to do user issues. But like when stuff breaks down, they may not give you that. They may give you some, some everyday tasks that you need to do.
Yeah, like so. We had the time when senior leadership would come into town and we get to interact with them, or I did something purposely for our client that got me notoriety. But I mean, for the most part, I don't know. I think, honestly, when you work in places that's ran by like a lot of boomers, that's when like your disdain for being in the office starts to show, because they're just different, man. They don't, they so old school or whatever. Like,
I always say still, it does depend on the work culture. Like if the work culture is not where it's at, then this isn't going to be a good experience for your employees. And if you're not willing to spend money, because if you're bringing them into office, then, make it worth their while. What's going on? Are they able to have some social events so folks can actually get to know one another? Or is it just come in, no one's talking to each other? We all hate it here. Can't wait to go home. Might go home on lunch. It's about the culture and what you're willing to do to improve that work culture. Because it can be small stuff. It don't have to be a pizza party, but it can be things that people can do, micro activities that they can do to, foster collaboration and conversation.
Yeah, especially if you have like people who are introverted, or like a lot of us, I was always the youngest person in the room, like the youngest person in the office. Everybody's like in their 30s and 40s and stuff like that. And I'm sitting here like, dang, everybody 50 years old. I'm just the only one in here, and I have nothing in common with them, and they don't talk to me. So I'm just kind of sitting there by myself, and nobody on my team is there. So I can completely understand that, especially, if you have an introverted personality.
Yeah, I know. I used to be a young person too. Oh, go ahead, Lee.
No, the big thing, for one place I've seen before, a lot of companies got this mindset of you should be happy just to be here, right? So we paying you, you got a job, You could be. I had a manager before that said it could be worse. You could be working and not, or you could be making, less than minimum wage somewhere, and that's the justification for the lack of culture, so to say.
And also, I think
HD,
it depends
on
on the. Oh, go ahead, HD.
No, I was going to say the other thing of it is the entitlement. They feel like you should be so happy you work for them. Like he just said, oh, you could be doing something else, so happy you working here or whatever. Like there are not other options. But like I don't mind. Like right now, I do once a week. I go co-work. Our company has a little fund for me where I could, if I wanted to, I could co-work in a co-working office like every day of the year. So I do that to get out the house sometimes, but I'm still productive because I'm by myself and nobody bothering me. Which, while we're on here, the people that are in DFW, one of my it's like in the crowd. I mean, the chat can tell me if they want to see this, and I was telling Destiny about this, but with that thing, I'm able to get these big meeting conference rooms. So I thought about like whoever in the DFW, we do like a remote work from home co-office day, but it'd be content. And I think it'd be pretty cool. It'd be like remote day in the life or whatever.
That'd be lit.
Doing their work.
Yep.
So I think that'll be pretty cool. So we'll see what
that'll probably be the day where everything is light and nothing going on, and then you post it like, oh, that's easy money.
For real. That's what you want. You want an easy day. That means that nothing broke. All right, so Miss KB said that's a good idea. And I seen something from somebody in the chat that I want to ask the ladies.
I seen that too. Yeah.
It says particularly senior level women do better remote because they found women tend to do more mentoring, etc. in the office, which doesn't tie directly to productivity in quotes.
She didn't tell not one lie.
I agree with her too. I don't even think it's necessarily just mentoring. It's just the conversational piece. But yeah.
Everybody want to stop by and talk,
Yep.
ask your family, ask you all these questions, and already it's like, what, 2 hours gone by?
Good morning for the first 2 hours you get there.
Yeah. Then you need it's lunch after that. And then after that, it's time to go home. Oh my God. Crazy.
All right, she said it was a Harvard Business Review study. That's something I'm going to have to look that up and see exactly what that says.